Hey guys, welcome back to my channel MI Tutorials. In this tutorial, I'm going to teach you a very interesting slicer to add to your dashboard, which will give you a website kind of an experience. So let me show you what I exactly mean over here. So when I click on this particular arrow over here, this will pop up a dialog box which with all the slicers that you want in this particular dialog box. Let's say you want to filter by the item type slicer over here. So I can click on baby food and then I can simply click on anywhere outside over here. So, but if you notice that the background over here also gets sort of changes the color and makes it a little blurrish. And then you can exit the slicer by clicking anywhere outside over here, or you can click the button over here and exit the slicer. So for now, let me just click over here and exit the slicer. So we've selected baby food. So the entire chart or the dashboard or the report is now filtered for baby food only, right? And then if you want the slicer back again, you can simply click on this. And let's say if you just want to take a look at the year, let's say 2021, you can select 2021 and you can click this button to hide the slicer. Isn't this a very cool feature to add to your dashboard, right? And I'm sure you're curious to know how we can create this slicer and incorporate into your dashboard. So let's get started. I will go to the new sheet here. I have copy pasted the exact same visuals that I have here, except for the this shape and the slicer button over here, which I have not added so that I can show this to you in this particular tutorial. So firstly, let us begin with adding a background kind of a thing, which will give a little nicer look to your report. So let's add I have added a rectangle shape over here, and then from here, let us quickly change this to pentagon arrow and change the arrow headed size to 80%. And then let's go to the rotation, and on the rotation, let's enter 180 degrees so that it rotates 180 degree and changes into this way here. And then let's pull this up over here and bring it and expand this to whatever size that you want over here. Okay, and then let us bring in, so I just went to Google and downloaded this arrow shape over here, which is available as a PNG file. You can simply download that from Google and bring that up over here. So let me just resize this and bring this particular shape over here. So I've done that now. Okay, so I have one of the arrow and I have this background shape over here. Okay, let's make sure that this is in the center. All right, so once this is done, right now what you want is you want to blur out the background, right? Or you want to change the color of the background. So let us add another rectangle shape over here, and let us fill this particular the entire page here with this particular background. Okay, so once we fill this with the entire background, let us go to the fill option over here and increase the transparency maybe to about 50% or maybe about 40%. Yeah, I think this looks good. So let us increase the transparency to 40%. Okay, now let's go to the view tab and go to the selection over here and click on the rectangle that we just added. So you will see that as just a shape over here. Let us rename this and call this as BG blur. Okay, background blur. Okay, and then let us select this shape. It's called as image. So let us change the name of this to maybe arrow on. Okay, and then let's go to the shape and we can just leave that as it is. Okay, now we need another shape. So basically when you click on this arrow, you need a pop-up dialog box, right? So let us add another image or a shape over here. I'm going to select this rectangle shape over here and just increase the size of this, and then I'm going to go to the shape and bring down this to about 5%. You can add whatever shape that you want to. Let me quickly go back here and check what is the color that I have here in my slicer. Okay, I have a little burgundy kind of a color. So let us go to the format of this shape and then change the color to maybe this color. Okay, and let us align this to exactly how you want. Okay, and then let us hide this shape over here, and then let us rename this shape to filter background. Okay, let's call this as filter background. Now let us start adding these slicers into your dashboard. I'm going to go to the visualization over here, click on filter, and then I'm going to add a slicer for country, and then let us change this to drop down. So to sort of quickly do this, I'm just going to delete this and copy the slicers which I already have here. So I'm just going to quickly select them, copy them, and paste them over here. Okay. Let me just get rid of this and just have 3 slicers for the sake of this tutorial. Okay, let me just get rid of them so that you can see this a little bigger. Okay, so I'm going to have 3 slicers here for the sake of this tutorial. You can add as many slicers as you want. Okay, so now I have my slicers. So let's go back to our view and click on selection and make sure that you have the names for your slicer. So I have country, item type, and my year slicer. So I have all 3 slicers named over here. All right. Now let us go and let us also bring in the other arrow over here. Let's go to the insert, go to image, and search the other arrow that you want to bring in here, and align it to the size of exactly as this, right? So that it matches. Let me quickly, I think I'm just doing this roughly so that we are making sure that this is correct. And now we said arrow on. Let us now change this to arrow off. Okay, click on enter. Now let us go to the view tab and click on bookmarks. Okay, and let us add new bookmarks. Let me sort of delete this old bookmarks that I have so that we start from beginning, right? And let us add a new bookmark, call this as show slicer. Okay, now when you show the slicer, or when you click on the show slicer button, or this button over here, you want to see you don't want to see the, okay, you want to see arrow off, right? And you want to see year slicer, item type slicer, country slicer, filter background, yes, background blur, you want that as well. You don't want to see the arrow on button because that will get replaced by this button over here. Okay, so we only turn off the arrow on selection over here, and then go to slicer, show slicer. Okay, and then deselect the data option here. Okay, and then click on update. So show slicer has been updated. Now let us add another bookmark and call this as hide slicer. Okay, click on enter. Now when you hide the slicer, you want the arrow off to disappear. You want the year slicer, item type, country slicer, filter background, background blur to disappear, and but you want the arrow on to appear. Okay, now let's go back here and uncheck the data over here, and then go back and click on update. Okay, so now let's see if it is working. So when I click on show slicer, I'm getting the slicer over here, I'm getting the arrow icon as well, the background also is getting sort of blurred. And then when I click on hide slicer, everything gets back to normal. Okay, now one thing that we should change is that we need to align both the arrows in the same position. So let's bring this back up over here. Okay, and now let's go back and click on arrow on, and then let us click on update. Okay, and then when we click on hide slicer, both are now working fine, right? Now let us assign this to this particular shape over here. So arrow on, I'm going to go here to the formatting image, go to the action, turn this on, go to type, click on bookmark, and then say show slicer, select show slicer over here. Okay, now when you control click, since we are on Power BI desktop, if you control click, you will see slicer appearing. Okay, now and you can see here the different image over here. So let's click on this image, go to actions, turn on bookmark, and then hide slicer. Okay, so when you click on this, the slicer is getting hidden. Okay, and then when we click on this, the slicer is appearing. Okay, now let's see if this is also working, right? So when we click on this, the slicer does not disappear. So we need to do one more thing here. So we need to click this particular image over here, which is BG blur, okay, and then go to the action and then select bookmark and then select hide slicer, okay. Once you have this, when you click on this, control click, the slicer gets hidden, okay. When you click on this, you have this. Now you see one little problem over here, because the entire thing is appearing behind in front of the slicers that we've added. So let's click on this image, go to the format tab, and then just select send backward, okay, and then come back and click outside somewhere over here, and you see that everything is working fine. Okay, now let's click on this arrow again. You see the slicer is hidden, and then let's click on this. You see the slicer is now appearing, and you can select slicer. Let's unselect the slicer over here, and then let's click somewhere outside over here, and then this seems to be working fine. And this is how you add the website kind of an experience slicer to your dashboard. So yeah, this is about it. We've come towards the end of the tutorial. I hope you guys have enjoyed it. You guys have learned something new. Please consider subscribing to my channel for more such tutorials.